Here we go. TT12 PRO. We're going to be doing a trigger installation. Found these guys on the internet, just searching triggers for the Turkish shotguns, whatnot. MIM TAC. They've got a trigger called the Drastic ST. Apparently this is a new product for them. I tagged them on Instagram and they're curious to see how it works in the shotgun also. So it comes with a couple, let's see here. Comes with a couple of anti-walk pins, which they're two different widths. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to use both of them, any of them. We're going to see. So I'll go ahead and reach out to them on that too. Maybe we can get some made specifically for the shotgun, but give a little Allen key and the trigger itself. So I mean, just messing with it feels pretty good. The reset pretty damn short compared to the factory trigger, so hopefully all the geometry and all that works in this shotgun, but we'll find out real quick. So I'm gonna get some tools out. We're gonna beat these pins out, take the safety off. This is my new 3D printed prototype longer safety. Also, this holds the detent in for the safety, so when you're backing this out, be cognizant of the spring and the little ball in there. But I'll get this thing taken apart and we'll explain. Alright, so now we got everything disassembled. Got all my trigger parts, all this stuff out. Come to find out, I guess I wasn't paying attention, but these are two different lengths. So let's just compare. Let's see here. Yeah, so that's the longer one. That's the shorter one. So if anything, we might be able to use the longer one on the front. No, I'm sorry, that would be the back. So now the way this trigger's set up, also it's got set screws. It looks like it tensions the trigger up against this front pin. That may be an issue because the fact this is polymer. So I might go ahead and take a aluminum can and go ahead and cut a little piece, a couple pieces of squares on there, and set that down in there so that the metal screws are pushing against it. But let's just try a little dry fit. It fits in there, and it looks like the holes line up. Okay, so that's a bonus. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and put the pins, factory pins, back in it and see what she does there, see how much clearance I've got, and then I'll go ahead and get an aluminum can and cut it a little square out, a couple squares out, so it distributes the load of those two screws better. Okay, just trial run. So it looks like the factory pins are a little bit fatter to go through this trigger assembly. See? So I'm gonna have to decide what I want to do there. The rear pin, which is going to be the longer of the two of these pieces, slides through fine. So that's good. I can use the rear pin. Not too terribly worried about that. I think what I'm going to end up doing is going ahead and chucking this up in a drill and sanding it with some sanding cloth to get this Cerakote paint shit off of here, because it started to go through. It's too fat because of this material. So we're going to go ahead and do that, get this material off of here. I'm not as terribly concerned with this being a little bit smaller diameter about walking out, because of the fact that these two screws will push up into the assembly and push tension on this front portion here. So let me chuck this up on the drill with some sand cloth, knock all this down, and see if we can't get this to go in there smooth, and then we'll come back to putting this dude in here. Alright, so what I did was I just chucked this up in a drill, take some sanding cloth, and you just get the material off that you want. So I'm going to bring this, leave this in the garage to take more material off as needed. So next thing we need to do is put some metal down inside of the receiver. From the looks of it, just eyeball, obviously, I can probably take a can and double it over a few times. So, and I left my can inside. This is to be continued. All right, back. We're gonna use one of these cans. Yes, I've been drinking these lately because they're low carb and they taste delicious, and beer leaves me bloated. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and mic this, kind of, whatever. I'll say 0.65 should be plenty. And then just eyeball kind of what I need here. Let's say 0.65. It'll be 0.5. So I'm going to go ahead, let's say 0.5 times 3 be 1.5. I'm just going to triple it up. So 0.65. Of course, this piece of crap turned off. I'll just eyeball that anyway. This doesn't have to be perfect. Obviously, this is not perfect at all. So just make some score marks there. And then 1.5 Sweet Harbor Freight mic. So now I kind of got some lines on there. Take my trusty scissors and go ahead and make them like that. Cut that. You can use any kind of scissors. It's aluminum. So, like that. Like so. Boom. Now I've got a piece of metal. So, I did this in threes. Doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, this is just a trial run. It may not work at first, so we're just experimenting. Y'all are along for the journey. So, set that down there. Yeah. That'll work. Now, set old dude down in there. let's go ahead and take this pin. And there we go. Well, that should work. Take this little dude. I'm going to put some Loctite on this after the fact. Just trying to dry fit everything. Obviously at first. Let's see. My fat fingers can't get that, so let's use a tool. Not the right tool. Okay, that's good. Let's see here. You know what? This slightly out of spec. So let's do this first. I know this rear is a smaller dimension. Let's get the front lined up first. Pound this in. There we go. So now it's in there. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So that was enough material off. And then, oh shit. Make sure it's lined up right about in there. There we go. So now that pin's all the way through. I'm not going to screw it in yet, but let's continue. Perfect. Let's put this in there. Just going to tighten it up a little bit. So, ooh, that's nice. That's going to be quick. So, next thing we're going to do, just to test fit, see if the safety fits back in there. Okay. Crap. There we go. Alright, so let's function test that. Let's roll it over to safe. I'll put the detent in it later. There's a little bit... okay. That's fine. So on the Timney triggers, you actually have to take some material off of the safety barrel because the tail on the safety is too tall. But it seems like it's right there. I should be able to roll it on safe. There's a little resistance at the end, but that should be acceptable. So we're on safe. No go. Roll it to fire. Perfect. I like that. I don't have to modify the trigger or the safety barrel. That should work fine. Okay. So next, we've got these two Allen keys inside of this assembly. Comes with a supplied wrench, which appears to be the same as that anti-walk pin. Let's see how in the hell. So we're going to roll. Let's see. There it goes. I just pulled the safety hammer spring over a little bit so I get that in there. And we're going to just, I guess, run it down. There we go. Starting to feel some tension. So it's pushing up on the front pin. I might have to get a punch to move that. So do the same with the other one. And I feel tension. Snug that up. Okay. And pop that over. Pop that over. So now this trigger's locked in. Oops, shit. Okay. Let's just take this out for a minute. The other thing I've heard about and some other issues with the Elfman and also the Timney on some of the other guns. This LR, whatever, last round bolt hold open. Get this sumbitch back in here. God damn it. Come on. There it goes. The hammer will actually catch the wedge before it hits the firing pin on the gun. So, because of the hammer profiles. Let me find the old hammer. Of course. I've already lost it. There it is. So, let's take a look at this real quick. The hammer, let's see if I can line these up kind of right. The hammer is a lot longer, bigger on the factory than it is the aftermarket. And that's also the same case with the Timney trigger. So we'll have to assemble the gun and see if it actually hits the firing pin. So what do we do if that happens? If it doesn't hit the firing pin? Well, do a couple things. We can either modify this, cut some material off of here, or we take this, throw it in a garbage can. Because you know what? In 3-gun, if you run it to slide lock, you've already screwed yourself anyway. So we don't even need it. Future video, we're going to go over the magazine, taking out the last round bolt hold open little triangle for feeding. So this is rendered useless anyway. So let's go ahead and put the safety back together, and then we're going to assemble the gun and see if it actually hits the firing pin correctly. All right, so now I've got assembled. There's a little bit resistance right there. I can get it there. Just it's a little bit more tension than I like. So what I'm gonna do, I mean it's you can get it on safe, it's just a little bit more than I like. So functional, but I'm gonna go ahead and take the safety barrel back out and just take a little bit of this coating off, and that should fix our issue. Now I got this out, all I'm doing is taking a little file and just running it over here a couple times. Just get some of this material off. Which it's not going to hurt anything. It's not going to make the gun any less safe. It's just, it's still going to roll over and hit it. So that should be enough, but let's just do a little bit more because I don't feel like doing it 3 or 4 times to test it. But yeah, that should be okay. So we can just go ahead and put that back in the gun. Let's cock the hammer. Oh. See, just that little bit right there till the detent kicks in. Let's do just a little bit more. But you get the idea. Do this a few times. Maybe roll this around a little bit more. So I'll just Get a little bit more material off of there. Just enough to where it'll roll over comfortably and lock all the way on the detent. You can either do this, or you can take some material off the hammer or the back of the trigger, which this honestly is a preference thing at this point. Not everybody's gun obviously will have this issue, so it's just the nature of the beast with these guns. Yep, that's it. So I like it. All right, well, this is going to be a problem. You can't see it barely. Let's see if I can do it. The hammer is being caught by this assembly. See, there's tension there. So we're going to have to do some modifications. Now, let me think on this and we'll figure it out. Okay, so I took out the last round bolt hold open assembly and went out to the side of the house and cooked one off. It indeed works. So I don't see any other workaround right now, considering the size of this hammer and this hammer, without taking out this assembly, at least for this trigger. Now, I know that some of my other buddies that have the Timonies have had some issues. I had a guy actually take a spot weld a little piece on the end of the hammer, which is absurd. Other guys were having some weird light primer stuff, and they ripped this out and it worked fine. I can potentially modify this as far as grinding some more material off of that, but the only time I'm going to use this assembly is never, honestly. None of my competition mags even have the ability to trip this. Only if I lock it back, and I can lock the slide back, but I mean, I'm not really too concerned with it, to be honest with you. I may play around with grinding this off, but this is probably going to stay out of the gun. So this trigger may not be for everybody, honestly, but I'm going to go ahead and test fire it this weekend. We'll get some more video, see how it runs, do some mag dumps, that kind of shit. So, alright, so what I figured I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and just leave this piece in. I ended up taking the pin out and a little spring, so it doesn't look so weird like anything's missing out of it. I actually did file on this a little bit, so I would have still some functionality, but the more I thought about it, the more this is retarded. So you know, it's just one more thing to get caught, make the damn bolt carrier stop for some stupid reason. This is completely pointless in the game we're playing. So we're just going to leave it at that. So that way it lets the hammer fall all the way and hit the firing pin of the gun. So it actually has to come to about here, which it has to go actually another, it's not even in there square, a little bit further. So if I take the Dremel and I grind the rest of this out, I can still have the functionality of this thing, but I really don't care. Just for shits, but just explaining what you're going to have to do to get this specific trigger to work in this gun. If they would have made this hammer a little bit bigger, no problem. If you want to take some weld, build this up a little bit, no problem. I think the problem with welding this, though, would be the fact that during reset it wouldn't work right. But beyond that, we should be good. I'm going to go ahead and take it up to the camp tomorrow and function test it. We'll get some video. Alright, so far so good. Safe. Fire. Look at that reset. Yeah. MIM TAC Trigger, SDS arms, TT12 PRO. Video coming soon of test fire and installation. Okay, we're up here in Alabama. I just got done doing a bunch of work at the property, mowing, all that good shit. But 5 rounds, Federal 1200, MIM TAC Trigger. Let's see. Roll it on a fire. All right, let's go load some more mags up. 10 rounds, MIM TAC Trigger. B&P 1250 shells. I'm at about 525 rounds for this thing now. MIM TAC Trigger. So far, so good. Let's run this spinner. Get a little spicy.